you a man in a minute. Upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. This is one of those poses that is not greater than the sum of its parts. There are essentials that have to happen for this to be a really gorgeous, I hate the word embodied pose, but we don't take the time because usually it's done in a flow, of course, or else somebody does it in a workshop and then you're just exhausted and you never want to do it again after 700 of them. So we're going to come in and out of this, or Susie's going to come in and out of this, and I'm going to talk about some real essentials that we've noticed that we need to work on, even though we're doing this every day. So let's have a look. First of all, lying down prone on the mat. I assume everybody knows that their thumb is in line with their bottom rib. We're going to start with the legs. The thing about the legs is the femur. When we lie down in this position, people tend to externally rotate their femur. So we need to reposition the legs so that the femur, the actual bone, is not internally rotated but neutral. But to take it from external rotation, you have to internally rotate it. So I'm literally going to move Susie's legs and I'm going to internally rotate the bone of her thigh. Brilliant. The flesh has to externally rotate, but we'll work on that in a minute. There's a double spiral going on here. Her lower leg, the flesh, wants to roll in, wants to roll out. The upper leg, the flesh wants to roll in. I'm talking about the back body, so let's talk about the front body. She's going to push into her big toe and her little toe. She's going to begin to spiral the flesh of her upper thighs. And then she's going to lift her upper body and of course her knees and her pelvis. So I have got external, internal rotation going on. But I really need this external rotation because I need to protect the low back using the glute. So that is the lower body. Come down out of that there, Susie. Upper body. So much going on here. Of course, there's extension going on, and we can be very caught in our front body. So I'm going to get Susie to do a little bit of a scrub. So come on up to kneeling, and because we're sitting down all day, every day, we get very caught in our front body, especially around the diaphragm at the front. So we're just going to take our fingers, and they can be quite tender here. So underneath your ribs, relax your tummy, and all the way out to your sides. And you will find some spots that you notice will talk back to you. And then in between each of your ribs, you've got intercostalis muscles, and especially if you're female and you're wearing a bra, this tissue will get stuck down as well. So giving yourself a little bit of a scrub for a moment, and then come back and do the exercise again, and you should feel just a little bit freer. So remember, we are internal rotation of the lower leg, external rotation, this is energetically of the upper leg. Susie's feet are hip distance apart, by the way. They shouldn't be any wider than that, or else it will go into her low back. Then she is going to push into her arms, lift herself up, and around the abdomen. Two more things that have to happen: retraction and external rotation. And you can try and force that all you like, and it isn't going to work if you're up here. So lie back down on your tummy. First one is take your arms out by your sides into crucifix position. Put your head down and make a fist to both your arms, bend your elbows. Good. So without letting your elbows come closer to your hips, you're really going to try and move your shoulder blades together. And this is really hard work. You should start sweating almost immediately. If you want to pulse that, where you move them in together and then you let them go a little bit, then you move them in together and let them go a little bit, and a couple more of those. So you're really squeezing your shoulder blades together, really squeezing them together, really squeezing them together, and one more really squeezing them together. Fantastic. So that is my retraction of my scapula. The next one is external rotation. This is hard. We think that because we've done so many up dogs from chaturanga, we don't understand that external rotation because our elbow is stuck to our ribs, which we've told everybody to do in chaturanga. So we're going to play around with a couple of things. First of all, lying down on your face, we're going to lift the back leg, bend the knee, and take a hold of the foot. Externally rotate. It's really hard to do this behind your back. It's really difficult understanding. Good, and back down again. And once more on each side. So it's an external rotation. We bend the knee, squeezing that shoulder blade into the center line. Great, and on the other side. Just be careful that you don't pinch your low back here. So we shouldn't do it for the sake of height. We're just doing it for the sake of, yeah, you can stay as low as you need for the external rotation. Fabulous. Let's try it again. So feet closer together, Susie. Excellent. So I'm going to move those thighs again. I'm going to internally rotate your thigh bone, but you can externally rotate the flesh. Press big toe and little toe into the ground. Engage your legs and then lift yourself up, squeezing your shoulder blades together, externally rotating, and lower back down again. Last one, last assist in this. This time Susie's going to roll over onto the underneath of her toes. So she's going to lift her knees off the ground so that she has some space, and she's going to keep her elbows wide. She's going to lift her body off the floor, coming up into a mad up dog. But using her elbows, bending her elbows, she's going to try and pull her ribs through even more. So try and pull her ribs right through. Yes, one more. I'm going to try and help you. So once more, bend your elbows and pull those ribs through. That's it, Susie. That's it. And if I just stay here, it'll be fantastic. So we're really externally rotating. Look at the arch. Look at the way her chest presents. Then lower back down. Sling it all together, and I promise I won't ask you to do it again. So, feet are hip distance apart. Internal rotation of the femur, but external rotation of the flesh. In other words, you're placing the leg so that the kneecap is right facing the floor. It's not facing out to the outer edge of the mat. Then we're going to keep our elbows wide, press our fingertips into the floor, and lift ourselves, and keep your elbows wide, keep them wide, and bend them. Bend your elbows. Now pull your ribs through. Bend your elbows and pull your ribs through. Now you got it. Yes, fantastic. So her ribs had somewhere to go, lifting up a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and release back down. Whew. I don't recommend child's pose after this. If you're a female, I recommend you come to all fours. And then just lift your feet off the floor and then press them into the floor. If number 10 was the heaviest you could push them into about a number 5, and it brings a little bit of stability back into the SI joint. And you can do that again. Lift your feet and then press them into a floor to about a number 5. And if you want to do that 3 times, you can. I find that I feel very unstable in my pelvis when I do this. So I need to restabilize rather than go into a counter stretch, so to speak. Excellent.